Two governors, two states. Two completely different versions for homeownership in America. One of them just stood up at a press conference in Tampa and said something that every single homeowner, every single renter dreaming of buying a home needs to hear. The other one, well, he's on his podcast tour doing this.
What's this?
Talking from both sides of his mouth while people are fleeing his state by the millions. I'm Ramin. I've been a loan officer for over 20 years, and I've helped about 600 families buy homes. What I'm about to show you is the clearest contrast I have ever seen between two completely different approaches to homeownership. Now, this isn't about politics. This is about your mortgage payment, your equity, your financial future. So let's get into it. So Ron DeSantis just held a press conference in Tampa, and he laid out a vision that I've never heard any politician articulate this clearly. Listen to this.
When it comes to owning your home, though, for some reason, they don't give you a choice in that. You own your property, you own your house, and yet you got to perpetually pay, which is effectively pay taxes, which is effectively rent to the government, just to be able to live on your property. If you stop paying the property tax, they could take your property, and so that's wrong.
And so that's wrong. Did you catch that? That's what property tax is. You own your home, but if you stop paying the government every single year, well, they can take it from you. You paid your mortgage off? Congratulations. You still owe the government. You inherited grandma's house free and clear? Doesn't matter. Pay up or lose it. That's not ownership. That's a subscription plan. You're renting your home from the government. And DeSantis just said, well, that's wrong, and we're going to fix it. Now, meanwhile, in California, Gavin Newsom just did a 4-hour podcast with Sean Ryan. 4 hours. And within the first 3 minutes, Sean makes a joke about all the Californians moving to Tennessee.
But so I'm wondering did you come here to hang out with the 92,000 Californians? Then
you hit me right there, man. The California exit. By the way, complete bullshit.
Complete bullshit. Gavin, really? Let me give you the numbers. From 2020 to 2024, California had a net domestic migration loss of 1.46 million residents. Let's just call it 1.5 million, okay? That's not total population. That's Americans leaving California for other states, minus Americans moving in. 1.7 million people left. Only 500,000 moved in from other states. U-Haul just released their report. California is the #1 outbound state in America for the 5th year in a row. 58.9% of one-way U-Haul trips are leaving California. But yeah, complete bullshit, right, Gavin? Watch his hands. I know I'm doing a lot of hand motions too. Always moving, always gesturing, always performing. And later in that same interview, this man actually said, I'm not making this up. California is not a high-tax state. That's a direct quote. California is not a high-tax state. The state with the highest income tax rate in America at 13.3% is not a high-tax state. This is who's running California. Now, let me take you back to DeSantis, because he made an analogy that is so simple, so perfect. I wish I'd have thought of it myself.
You know, it's like you go buy a TV from Best Buy, you pay a sales tax, you put it on your wall, and then you watch it. You don't keep paying taxes on it indefinitely, so why is this something that we think is okay?
Think about that. You buy a TV, you pay sales tax once, done, it's yours. You buy a car, you pay sales tax once. You register it, sure, but you don't pay property tax on your car every single year. But your home, well, that's the biggest purchase of your life. The thing that's supposed to be your foundation of wealth. You pay and pay and pay and pay forever, even when you own it. Why do you accept this? Why do we accept this? Now, let me put on my mortgage hat, because this is where it gets real. For your monthly payments, here's what most people don't realize about their mortgage payment. When you make that payment every single month, a chunk of it goes to principal, that's building equity. That is yours. Another chunk of it goes to interest, that's the cost of borrowing. Fine. But then there's the escrow, property taxes and insurance. And here's the thing. In California right now, property taxes make up about 9% of your typical monthly mortgage payment. You heard that right. 9%. That's the highest percentage ever recorded in history. Insurance, California insurance premiums are projected to jump another 21% in 2025. 21%. Watch my previous video about what State Farm is doing. So now you've got insurance eating up another 10 to 12% of your payment, and those together, 20% or more of your monthly mortgage payment is going to things that build zero equity. Zero. That money is gone. You'll never see it again. It does not increase your ownership stake in your home by a single penny. Now, let me put real numbers on this for you. Say you're paying $5,500 per month for a mid-tier California home. That's the current median for buyers according to California Legislative Analyst's Office. $5,500 per month. Property tax plus insurance, well, that's $1,100 or more every single month going to the government and insurance companies. $13,200 a year that builds you nothing, zero. Over a 30-year mortgage, that's almost $400,000 in property taxes alone on a home, well, that you supposedly own. Now, let me make this even more real. Here in San Jose, where I work, let's say you bought a home back in 2010 for $600,000. Over the last 15 years, you've paid roughly $90,000 to $100,000 in property taxes. And here's the kicker. If you stop paying, even after 15 years of payments, even if your mortgage is completely paid off, the government can take your home. You are not an owner. You're a tenant with extra steps. That is what DeSantis is trying to change. Now, here's what Florida is proposing.
We need to make sure that we're delivering property tax relief. I propose to do relief this year, but then parlay that into a ballot initiative that would allow Floridians to be able to own their home without having to pay rent to the government.
Wouldn't that be great? Florida already has no state income tax. Now they're talking about eliminating property taxes for seniors 65 and older and for the first-time home buyers on homes under $1 million. No income tax, no property tax. You actually own your home. Meanwhile, in California, 13.3% income tax, the highest in America, property taxes increasing every year, insurance premiums jumping 21% this year, another 17% next year, a wealth tax being proposed that would tax you after you leave the state, and a governor who looks you in the eye and says the exodus is complete bullshit. Look, I'm not here to tell you to leave California. I live here, I work here, I help families buy homes here every single day. But I am here to inform you because you deserve to know what's happening. You deserve to know that there are states where the government isn't treating homeownership, well, like a subscription service. You deserve to know that your property tax isn't some unchangeable law of nature. It's a policy choice. And different states are making different choices. One governor is trying to let you actually own your home. The other governor can't stop moving his hands long enough to admit that people are leaving. That's the contrast. Now you know. Look, if this video opened your eyes in any capacity, smash that subscribe button. I put out content every week breaking down what's really happening in real estate and mortgages. And if you're looking to buy a home in California or anywhere else in the United States, links in the description below. Let's talk. Look, I'm Ramin. This is Real Talk, and I'll see you in the next one.